Let me check. Make sure. Alright. Alright. Hey guys, I think we're live. So, hey guys.
Hello.
Just me and Snick tonight because don't know where the other ones are at.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're on. I can't tell. You and your team up. You guys play against the computer. No. Oh, there. Are we on or not? God damn it. Yes, we're live.
Yeah.
It's very, very freaking slow. So, how's your? I guess as I get to finish saying this up, how's finals week?
Engine performance.
Meanwhile, tomorrow I have to go in for my last shift at work. Then I have to, couple of hours after, I have to attend my only in-person final, which is just screening a video project I helped make.
Can you tell us about the video?
All it is a documentary about one of the team members trying to become a stand-up comedian.
Not you, huh?
Of course not me. The only thing I'm good at is goddamn schnick rage moments
And onion jokes.
Well, and also telling stories of when I was a stupid kid.
And maybe you could do a whole comedy segment based on the onions.
Probably not. Oh, come the hell on. It's my aunt. Give me a minute.
So I keep getting this set up and stuff. So by day, well, I mowed the grass today, and I voted. 'Cause today was voting day. That's a topic I can talk about. So did you vote? Oh, did you vote today?
Vote for what?
The elections.
What election?
I don't know what elections, but really, today was voting day. At least in Ohio it was. I know it was New York or Colorado. Not Colorado, Connecticut, where you are. It's primary day.
No voting. I didn't hear about no voting crap.
It's every. Maybe primaries are different. I think primaries are different in Connecticut, I think.
I don't even know if I could vote in primaries because did you align yourself with a political party?
Yeah. You have to?
What happened now?
You have to align yourself?
I think you have to align yourself in order to vote in the primaries, and I did not align myself. It's not because I had no interest in politics. It's because when I was given the sheet in high school, that was basically my application to vote. They asked what political party I aligned with, but there was an option that said I choose not to align with a party at this time. I checked it off because I wasn't sure of what party my mom and dad picked, and then they're like, "Are you kidding me? We're Democrats."
That's what I am.
Yeah, and they decide, well, now if you want to choose your party, you have to go to the government center. I have never gone. And in all honesty, I'm kind of disinterested in choosing a party because I think both of them have their ups and downs.
They do both suck. I think the one sucks a little bit less. Like like how both Shreks suck, but extra large Shrek on the GameCube sucks a little bit less than Shrek on Xbox.
Yeah.
Shrek on GameCube is going to go. No, never mind. I was gonna say Shrek on GameCube is the Democratic Party, and Shrek on Xbox is the Republican Party. No, this game. Both parties suck. Both games suck, but one sucks a little bit less.
Wah wah.
All right, joke over. Oh, so you ready for graduation?
Yeah, I suppose.
Alright. This is... Oh, Hauser TV says, yo. Hi, Hauser. Hey. Welcome to the stream. Hey, you want to get on... What's Sif? Sif disbanded, by the way? Oh, the Stream It Forward thing disbanded? Wow. I'm pressing thing. Oh. Oh, I'll fix it then.
What the hell?
I'll fix it in editing later. Do you want to come on? Are you busy? You want to come? You want to come on Skype with us? Because Nick's silent right now.
Yeah, sorry. It's just that I don't know what to think about at the moment. $1 from Merlin.
Alright. Oh god, so we talked about election. Let's talk. What else there's to talk about today?
Okay. I mean, you said the whole Nintendo Switch bullshit.
Oh yeah. So you know anything about it?
All they claimed is that at this time they're not launching anything under the VC banner. All that's gonna do is just encourage people to use emulators. Oh, there I am.
Hello. You all hear me? You all hear each other? Hello? God damn it. Stupid. Hello? Oh. Great. Just great. I hope my mic's working. My head's not working. Alright. Yeah, I'm aware of that. Can't hear you either. Right.
Yeah, I never do law schools too much.
Oh, finally.
Yeah, law school, like, well, I did take a law and justice class in high school, and even though we were shown episodes of Law and Order and ultimately the movie My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah, Joe Pesci.
Yeah, Joe Pesci.
I like that movie, but I don't like Joe Pesci because of that movie. Well, I like Joe Pesci, but he scares me because of Goodfellas and.
Yeah, Goodfellas. Oh my god! Like I was making this YTP. I was making this YTP about Darkside Phil and how he tries shitting on all these famous characters, and at one point he goes on about a freaking Wolverine action figure that he was salty his parents didn't buy him as a kid. I insert the clip of My Cousin Vinny, Joe Pesci saying, "You were serious about that?"
I like that girl in it. That girl's really cute.
Yeah, Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, she's funny.
I
can't watch because I just every time I think of the movie Casino and Goodfellas, I think of two parts. I think of the end where Joe Pesci gets killed with his brother, and Casino. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, I know that scene. I have Casino.
And then Goodfellas, I always think about where he walks into the room filled with rugs, and he goes, "Oh shit!" and they just shoot him in the back of the head.
He doesn't really say, "Oh shit." He's like, "Oh." Like he's like,
"Yeah, whatever."
No.
It's brutal. It always
How about
that there's pure evil in this world. It really does exist.
Not to mention his freaking murder of Billy Batts that caused him to get shot at the end. Like freaking.
Yeah.
Like
the guy called him a shoe shine though. That's pretty mean.
Yeah, he's like, "Now go home and get your fucking shine box, motherfucking you fucking piece of shit." That came from Joe Pesci's mouth.
Yeah,
like, oh
they cut him up and then they go back to their grandma's house and they're like, "Oh yeah, I got this knife. I got a deer stuck in the front of the car." And it's like, yeah, it's all bloody because of that.
Yeah, and to think Joe Pesci was in the Home Alone movies, like
I
he
think
plays
that's
Harry.
Martin Scorsese's mom. Am I wrong?
Martin Scorsese. Wait, who plays his mom in Goodfellas?
I think that's his actual mom. I'm not sure.
Oh wow.
Well,
I don't know.
yeah, I think of mom, I didn't know for the longest time that one lady was Carrie Fisher's mom.
Debbie
Oh,
Reynolds.
the
Yeah.
guy who played
Well,
the main girl.
that situation just shows that there's Final Destination style shit that exists. Like, first you get Carrie Fisher dying of a heart attack, then 1 or 2 days later, Debbie Reynolds literally dies of a broken heart, more or less.
Hmm. I'm trying to get a picture of Martin Scorsese's mom, but it's not showing up. Oh wait, it is her. Yeah, it is her. That's really his mom.
Hey.
So did you vote today, Matt?
Did I vote today? No, I didn't vote.
I didn't even know there was a vote.
I don't know. I think it might be. Like I said, it might be different for you because you're a different state.
Yeah.
And primaries are different. But
No,
yeah,
I didn't.
the only thing basically it was primary stuff. The only issue really was apparently a petition to keep something about the jerry-riggering killed.
Gerrymandering? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, where they stop rewriting the districts every 10 years and make it more uniform or something like that.
Well, yeah, that's what that's the idea. But they don't do that. They write the districts, so I don't know how to explain it. I don't really know.
They change the districts so the people in power get the most votes.
Right, exactly. It's something backwardsy and not right. I don't know how it works, but I've seen pictures of like states that you would think you could just cut into 2 squares, but they actually like got all these squiggly, like
a horseshoe shape, or like a zigzag shape, or like a panhandle, like
yeah.
That
part of the electoral process, let's just say that's not the best part.
And I think that's what the thing was for. It was to get oh damn it. Hey, Snick, can you talk to Jesse? I can't talk to him right now.
I'd have to go sit at the computer.
Well,
I mean, thankfully the phone's fully charged, but once everybody comes back, I don't know how easy it is for me to talk.
I can't. He's asking about the podcast, but I can't check off the screen because that will get rid of.
It's okay. You can go talk to him. If you need to talk to somebody, you can just turn.
I mean, well, I'm getting on there right now. Where is he now?
On Skype.
Twitch. Oh, wait, he's on Skype?
Yeah.
I don't see him on Skype. Hang on. Yeah, I don't see anything on Skype.
Hold on.
He probably sent the messages straight to you. Well, thank God there's a link to your Twitch channel on freaking YouTube.
So I was hoping to have about. So apparently, do you ever Switch yet, Matt?
Yeah, I was playing it yesterday.
Well, the topic I found was apparently the virtual console's not coming to the Switch.
Oh, okay.
Wah, wah.
I don't really, I never really got into the Wii virtual games, especially just because I don't know, just never got into it.
Well,
I don't know much about them.
I figured you play. I figured you get into it because you play. You're all about old school games.
I never did.
I mean, I'd imagine. I'd imagine you'd have like the actual cartridges. Someone like me wouldn't have the actual cartridges because I wasn't even born when the NES and the Super Nintendo were out.
I have a lot of old school cartridges, but I never got into the online shopping from the Wii, whatever it's called, the Wii Universe or whatever it is. I never bought any games via online platform for Nintendo. I don't know why. I just never did. I just they got like all these old school ports on there, but I mean, you can just get the games for free on your computer. I don't know why I would put them on there. You know,
Yeah.
like it's pretty cool to own one of those things that you have. I can't remember what they're called. They got a Super Nintendo one and a Nintendo one now, but
Yeah, I own the Super Nintendo one and I couldn't buy it in time.
I literally could download a folder with 7,000 games in it for free. Oh, it's not that many, but
Wait a sec. You mean the classic editions?
yeah,
Hey,
I can download.
You hacked those, huh?
Yeah, I could download all those games for free. That's why I
Of
would
course-
love
yeah,
those too.
You own that. I explained this to Snick. You own one of those rare Nintendo, Super Nintendo double brand things, don't you? Right?
Yeah, I do. I bought it online. It wasn't that rare. It was like $30. I mean,
Yeah, I know there's like a whole bunch of clone systems that have
Mine
like
is,
NES, Super Nintendo, and Genesis.
mine's really basic. It's just a Nintendo and a Super Nintendo. But there's so much more. There's like the Retron 5. They got all these other ones that have like fully built computers into them with save states and everything. And then they got PS4s and even up to Xbox games in them. But I don't have that. I just have the real simple one, so I can play them both on one console.
Oh wow.
It's like
Well-
$40. It's real easy to find.
I mean, generally when I play games that are older than the PS1, or even in some cases as far as like the PS2 and GameCube era, like generally I try to get the real things for like stuff that's on PS1 and after.
Mhm.
Or in the case of anything before that, I would always buy like digital re-releases that would come out, but eventually I was kind of introduced to emulation, which I kind of had to do for games that were like well over $100 and didn't have a re-release of any kind.
Yeah, I don't see see the point to those two consoles they came out with, the little Nintendo and the Super Nintendo, the little ones, but I don't see a point to buying them on the Wii Universe if you can just download them for free somewhere.
Yeah. The problem with the
I don't know. It was just, I guess you could say
Yeah.
it was a morality thing I had for a while.
yeah the problem.
Like, if there was a legal way to buy them, like, why download it when you could still give them money for it? But then you have games like, say, Terminator on Sega CD. That is never going to get re-released, so I had to download it.
Yeah, it's a game-to-game basis because all the games are owned by different companies and created by different people. You know, you got Nintendo, you got all the different third-party companies, so every
A
game...
lot of the companies may not even exist anymore.
Yeah, and they're like all funneled into like bigger companies now, and you know every game's different. It's just up to you like what you like. But I also didn't play a lot of Wii U, so I never really. That's one of the reasons I had a Wii, and I remember looking at the games on the console when I played it, but I never bought them because it was my parents' Wii, and I didn't play it that much.
Yeah.
I mean, I did get the Wii U, and I kind of got mad when like a lot of the freaking Wii U exclusives ended up getting ported to the Switch,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, I think I had the perfect analogy I had the perfect analogy last year when the Switch came out and Nintendo was gradually releasing more of the games on the Switch as well as abandoning some of the Wii U services like Miiverse. It was like Psycho Dad shreds video games, where the dad shreds all of the one kid's Wii U stuff, saying he's got to get a Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
kind of like how. Sorry.
No, I just said I think I know what you're talking about.
Kind of
Like,
how,
I even started paraphrasing some of the quotes from the video.
Anyway, Snick.
This is what I want to do. I want to play Wii U. Oh,
So,
I'm
Snick-
still mowing it. I don't care. I don't care. You gotta get a Switch. What does this achieve? What does this achieve? Destroying Miiverse. Maybe you'll quit playing Wii U for a while, get a Switch, and play some more new games.
Kind of like your dad, how he sold your Game Boy Advance.
Oh, yeah, he sold my Game Boy Advance because he claimed it was obsolete and I needed to play DS. Well, then, a couple months ago, I rebought my own GBA.
Like he said he wanted to buy Chain of Memories or something, and he's like, I want that
Oh,
game.
yeah, that story.
His dad's like, sorry, Game Boy Advance games are outdated.
Yeah, that was in the KH Lore podcast. We had a guest star Raximus on the stream. When I said that, he showed a look of shock, and that got MarioTube laughing. Just the description.
Yeah, we talked about the Miso Classic thing. and it's cool and all, but really, the only problem with the classic things is half the games you might not play, not interested in. Like half the games on the classic, I'm like I have no interest in never playing. I might try them out, but they're not really never were my thing. But with emulations, and whatever else thing you can get you can pick what you actually want to play. Not like these are games for you. It's like people like someone bought you a game. Hey, surprise! A game for you. You own this now, but I don't like this game. Too bad you own it now.
Yeah, it was a hype thing that, like, I don't know, like it was kind of hyped like that Mario cereal. You remember that shit when that came out?
Oh, like in the '80s or the recently?
Like when there's a trending thing, like what was this thing called Beanie Babies and
yeah,
stuff like that. They get really hot for like right away, and then people realize, they're not like going to just make one round of this. They're gonna make 2 rounds of it. So why did we go crazy? They're gonna make 50 rounds of it.
Snick has a cereal now.
I have a what?
You have a cereal.
What do you mean I have a cereal?
Shrekos.
Oh, fuck no.
What's Shrekos?
No, he's talking about an actual Shrek cereal called Ogreos that friggin' Brandon Brasta 455 discovered, and I started dying of laughter at the fact that the Shrek cereal actually existed.
Oh, they just put Shrek on Netflix the other night. The first Shrek, I think.
Oh, what they did? Hang on. Let me see
it's
this.
The first or the second? I don't know which one. I remember seeing it. I like Shrek. It's a good movie.
Yeah, I like all the movies. Oh, they did. It's there. I'm adding it to my list right now.
Ogres are like onions. They have layers.
Oh, god damn.
He's wearing it's a thong. A pink thong. I like that part.
That's from Shrek 2, when they're trying to break him out.
It's not real. It's a pink thong. He's like, he says something. What does he say? He's like, there's butterflies on it. Not my gumdrop buttons.
Oh my god. Like both the first 2 movies especially got their classic lines.
I wonder if there's anything else Eddie Murphy has been in the past 5 years.
I think there was like one thing, but I don't remember what it is.
He got Phil Hollywood and his money, and he got out, didn't he?
I don't know. Ironically, it seems like he's the most active, or maybe not. Like Mike Myers kind of disappeared after he made a box office disaster called The Love Guru. And aside from cameoing in Inglourious Bastards and playing Shrek again in the 4th movie, he basically disappeared from
Mike Myers was in Inglourious Bastards?
Yeah, he was. He played one of the German officers.
Oh, like hidden in the back or something?
No, when you see him, it's pretty obvious.
I gotta see this. Because I like that movie. I got the bingo. Where is it? Mike Myers. Inglourious.
But yeah, like Mike Myers mostly disappeared from acting and mostly switched to documentary directing. And probably one of the only times he appeared on screen recently was when he was interviewed for the I Am Chris Farley documentary.
Well, he did do that Cat in the Hat movie that sucked pretty bad. Everybody was like...
Well, that was before The Love Guru and all that crap. Well, Cat in the Hat was probably one of the first nails to the coffin of his career, and then Cameron Diaz, who voiced Fiona, apparently she retired from acting.
Was Wayne's World his first movie?
Wayne's World was his first movie, I believe.
Yeah, what's his name died a couple of weeks ago? Vern Troyer.
Yeah, who played Mini-Me in Austin Powers.
That was like 2 weeks ago he died.
Mm-hmm.
Alongside somebody else, too, died. I can't remember. I've been doing really good with my eating. I was thinking about like eating better and dieting. I was thinking about going and spoiling myself tonight and getting some Baja Blast from Taco Bell. I really like Baja Blast.
I'm drinking some Game Fuel right now.
Oh, you got G Fuel?
What?
You mean Mountain Dew?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the actual G Fuel.
Oh yeah, this stuff. Okay, you can't see my webcam's off on the stream. What's up on the stream? But yeah,
What do you mean? I see your face on the stream.
I meant. Oh, there you go. You see the.
Oh, apparently Cameron Diaz, part of the reason why she retired from acting was because she appeared in the box office bomb Annie, like the Annie remake, and apparently critics didn't like her performance too well, and then she claimed last year that she didn't like traveling for filming, and then just like 2 months ago, she's like, oh, I'm retired.
Speaking of movies, have you seen Infinity Wars yet?
Yeah, I saw it today.
Yeah, I saw it last week.
Saw it last Saturday at 10:30 screening in the morning.
Yeah, we tried talking about it last week, but what's to talk about? So, have you seen all the Marvel movies now? Or
Yeah, pretty much. Let me go look at the list. I've seen every one, I think. There might be like one or two that I haven't seen. Let's see.
last night I caught up on the Shield episodes.
I
Yeah,
never watched.
yeah, I like it. I like how it connects to the movies starring the guy that Loki killed, Phil Coulson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like how they reference the movies too, like how they made one of their people a Hydra agent.
Yeah, I think I've seen every one. Yeah, I've seen every Marvel movie in the past 10 years. Yeah.
I want to know is if the future movies between now.
Oh, the next one you should have known by if you watched Avengers the end credits, Avengers 4.
Yeah, but I think next one would probably be either Ant-Man and Wasp, I'm thinking, or maybe Captain Marvel.
Yeah, those are the two next ones. I wonder when DC movie comes out. I know it's Aquaman, but I don't know if it's coming out when it comes out.
Hey Mario, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, you already started it?
Yeah,
Oh.
try to get hold of you, because you're busy. So
Okay.
let's see.
So what are we talking about?
We were talking about movies right now, and we
What
were
kind?
talking about the virtual console issue.
It is
Virtual
Aquaman.
console
I don't
issue?
know when it comes out.
Oh, well, I mean, about how the virtual console's not coming to the Switch.
Yeah, but that's not stopping classic games from getting on the Switch.
It's not the same thing.
Well, if I understood the article correctly, basically it said that they're only getting rid of the brand name, but the whole thing that they're doing hasn't changed.
No, from the implication the
30
article
seconds.
gave me is that they're banking on people to do legacy collections a la Capcom. That's the
Okay.
idea the article gave me.
Okay, well, in that case, that basically means, okay, if that was happening, then, in other words, Nintendo is forcing other companies to not only make a legacy collection of their own, but force it to be online capable unless the game isn't multiplayer in the first
Are we
place.
talking about the the RIP Virtual Console?
Yes.
Yeah.
My personal opinion, I think they're gonna do the NES online thing, except expand it to have SNES and N64 and maybe even GameCube or Wii games. That's just what I think because I think there's gonna be classic games in some form of another, like the Mega Man Legacy Collection thing and stuff like that, and like the Neo Geo games into arcade archives. are already kind of like a virtual console. I mean, they haven't really expanded that much, and they're a bit pricey. My opinion, what Nintendo needs to do is just have something that's similar to virtual console, but not like I think the brand died, but not the concept died. Like I think the virtual console name is gone.
Well, see, what I don't get is why they got rid of the brand name.
I don't know either. Because I think they just wanted, like, from the beginning, we always knew there was going to be a classic game selection for the Switch. We just didn't know if Virtual Console would be coming or not.
But why do they have to choose games? Why can't you pick the games you want to play? Why does it say, oh, these games are the games you're going to play? Why can't we pick our own games? Same thing with the classic. They're like, Eric, pick these games. Enjoy.
I don't get what you're trying to say. It was like that for Virtual Console too. Like they put games up and like what are you trying to say? I'm confused.
Can you translate for me?
Are you trying to say like
Snick
it's
or
like
Mario?
Can
You translate for me?
Huh? Translate.
No,
Oh.
no, he said either.
He said he doesn't understand why you don't get to choose. Why the games are like pre-selected for you when you buy them. I guess I don't know.
Oh, so like
you don't buy the
Xbox
games.
Live.
I don't think you buy the games. I think it's like a Netflix service where you get it.
Yeah,
and
I
you
don't
have
really know because I don't use it. I was just trying to help.
Okay.
But still, there's some games.
It's not out yet.
There's some games on the you can't like older school games you can't get.
He just wants there to be every game possible, which is what we all want. But there's so much.
It's not possible. Like even
It's not
Microsoft,
red tape. It's red tape.
even Microsoft with Xbox backwards compatibility, like they've openly admitted that they even though they'd like to make every single original Xbox and 360 game backwards compatible, they can't because of licensing and other legal crap that's involved. And they've even openly admitted that original Xbox backwards compatibility can actually be pretty limited because of it.
Yeah, and plus Nintendo has been around for a long time. Like there are thousands and thousands of NES, SNES. Like there's probably even like up to like 100,000 just games, like over 100,000 games just spanning the entire Nintendo lifetime. It's like the Wii U Virtual Console was probably very expensive to develop for because they had to do emulators for a bunch of different types of systems, and they probably lost a lot of money on it.
I don't think they technically lost a ton of money on it because one simple fact, the Wii had a lot more going with it. Like there were so many more consoles on the Wii's Virtual Console alone that it was kind of like amazing. But in comparison to Wii U Virtual Console, it's more limited to Nintendo consoles, but it's just, I mean, it's not a bad selection. I'm saying it's not a bad selection, but, all I'm saying is that it's not entirely impossible for them to do a lot of games, but, I don't know.
Because the Wii U had a big selection of consoles, but it was very limited. Like the Nintendo DS, I'm pretty sure there's only like 20 Nintendo DS games you could choose. So
I mean, if you really want my personal opinion on Virtual Console, it's an alright system, but there's one huge flaw with it. When it comes to local multiplayer, I don't know about N64, but with Nintendo DS and Game Boy Advance, it is it's a disgrace because they just straight up don't even let you.
Yeah, the Game Boy Advance Virtual Console was a pretty big letdown. Like they could have, they could have put like the 4 swords and stuff to even have online stuff, but no, they just said to go with basic games and even still.
MarioTube, what's on your head?
What's on my head?
Oh, that's just a picture. Oh, I thought that was your.
Oh, yeah, my picture's a little bit blurry.
What
It
is
was
on your head in
taken a
that
long time ago.
picture?
It's supposed to be a hat, but upside down. Like, let me go grab it real quick. I still have the
I
Yeah,
exact
see
it's a
it.
hat.
crooked hat. It's a crooked white hat.
Oh, I see it now. It looks like a towel, like you have a towel on your head.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a bed sheet.
Okay, so it's this hat, but I put it on my head upside down like this.
I see it. Yeah. All right. Good talk. Good talk.
I thought, yeah, I thought it was funny. So
Hmm.
yeah. And
I was just coming in to say and talk for a little bit. I'm gonna go play some PUBG in about 5-10 minutes with my friend. But I'm gonna hang out for a little bit longer.
Okay.
So let's talk about So Mario, you ready for graduation?
yes,
Are you graduating?
soon.
Both of them are graduating. Mario's graduating from high school and Think's graduating from college.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And
Our kids
Brandon's
are all
also
grown up.
graduating tomorrow. So
Well, yeah, Brandon's graduating tomorrow. According to Jesse, me, I'm getting out of the school on 18th. And
oh wait, no, wait, that's false. I meant next week. Sorry, not tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Getting out on 18th, and I'm not entirely sure on the exact date of the graduation ceremony. It might be 23rd, but yeah, I'm happy to get the hell out.
For my graduation party, I told my parents that I wanted a slushy machine, and they rented one for me. It was a real cheap one, but it was a slushy machine nonetheless.
Awesome.
Wow.
It was one of them cheap ones. It didn't cost very much, but I was so happy because I liked slushies at the time, like a lot.
What flavors do you get?
It was a red and a yellow one. I can't remember what they were. Probably a strawberry and a pineapple one, I think. But I don't know where you rent that at, but that was like really cool of them.
I love this flavor. It tastes like blue.
Why are you making that face, Schnitt? I just looked up.
I don't know. What?
Well, let's talk about
creepy?
like one specific thing before I have to go. I don't know what your guys' topic wants to be, but we can talk about the Avengers movie that I just saw today. We can talk about politics. We can talk about anything. Let's just do one thing. So I'm going to go here in about 10 minutes.
Let's leave politics out of it.
Well, you pick the you pick the subject then, since you're leaving.
Okay. Is there anything you guys don't like to talk about that would like cause you guys to fight?
Shrek on Xbox.
I don't the leg out of my face. Let's not.
No, I can discuss Shrek on Xbox all day. I don't know about MarioTube.
All right, I'm going to Google podcast topics.
Okay.
Boots. Oh yeah, there's an asteroid going to probably destroy Earth in the year 2036, probably. So,
Wah.
They say that all the time.
Yeah,
it-
didn't they
saying it
say
since
that?
2005.
Didn't they say
So-
that in like 2010 or something?
No,
because
in
of the
2010 they're
Egyptian
talking
calendar ending.
And then 96 too. They said that.
Yeah, but they've been talking about this one since 2005. So
All right, I'm going to look at my favorite podcaster and steal one of their topics.
Who's your favorite? Besides me, of course. Who's your favorite podcaster?
Joe Rogan.
oh,
My favorite podcaster besides this one, what do I watch? I like Cox and Crinder in the morning, and I like Co-optional podcast.
I like
Wow.
sleeping.
I used to like But Wait There's Lore. Then the new one I watch is Lore Codex.
Oh, I know what I want to talk about. I just recently finished reading the book Jurassic Park. Have any of you guys ever seen that movie or read any of the books?
I mean, I saw I've seen the first movie and the
Oh, yeah.
fourth movie.
I've seen all of them.
I've seen the
There's
first
a new one
3
coming
movies.
out, I think.
Yeah, the
Dude.
escape,
Yeah.
the escape thing. When I saw the first one in '93, and I thought that girl, the one girl was cute, hot.
Who, the Ellie Slater, the girl paleontologist?
No, the granddaughter.
He was young back then.
Okay. All
But so is Vandalia, see?
The blonde, blonde girl, the sister, this computer expert.
Well, this will be my topic, and then I'll let you guys talk about it. I want to hear what you think. Okay. So in the book, if you've read it, I don't know. I know that it's far off.
Yeah, I've heard of the book, but never read it.
Yeah, I skimmed the book. It's like much more bloody.
The movie came first.
This is.
Did you know there's a Pirates?
Go ahead.
There's a Pirates of the Caribbean book. There are movies that are adapted into books, surprisingly.
No.
This one, the book came
Pirates
first.
of the Caribbean was adapted from a theme park.
From a theme park ride. Yeah, it got
Yeah.
adapted from a theme park ride, and then the movie turned into a book. So,
Yeah, I know about the books. I don't know. I'm not into that pirate stuff, though.
All right, so I'm going to give you my topic here, okay? In the book, it's not too far-fetched to believe that we might possibly be here in the future of like our sort of like current state of DNA, biochemistry, engineering, and all that sort of stuff. In the book, they discover dinosaurs' DNA from bugs that were encased in amber. Okay.
Well, that's the same thing in the movie.
Right. It's the same
Yeah.
in the movie. But I'm just curious if you guys think that at any possible point we could be getting closer to that in our current level of DNA knowledge and engineering, as far as what you can do. They cloned
a few years ago, they were trying to clone a frozen mammoth, and then they actually got it to live for, I think, 30 minutes or something, and then it died. So technically, mammoths got extinct in like the year 2015. So
What? No, what happened? No, they were extinct for thousands of years and briefly.
yeah, and then they tried
No,
to
actually, mammoths didn't go extinct until about 2000 BC.
So
yeah,
several
but they cloned
years
one.
ago.
They cloned one, and one
Because-
was alive and for a few.
Actually,
Well, not alive, but
Oh.
a new one was
Yeah.
made. for
Yeah,
a few
so it was very briefly de-extinct, but then it went extinct again.
but they
Yeah.
they found out that a tribe of mammoths were alive on an isolated island north of Siberia for like thousands of years after we thought they were already dead. They died out around the time of Christ.
Wow, I didn't know a species could be extinct and then unextinct and then extinct a
that's because
final
you never
time.
know if they go into hiding, because I know for a fact there's definitely some species where they're officially considered extinct because people can't find them, but then in
Have
the
to get
years
found.
afterward there'll be a lot of rumored spottings.
Like the
Yeah, there's a funny thing happens.
like real fast. Let me say this real fast. Like there, before I get interrupted again. There's like there's one species of fish, like some kind of like
I was gonna say that.
like-
That's what I was gonna say.
like coelacanth fish like that died in the dinosaur age, but it's found off the coast of Africa.
Yeah, people were they were fishing them up for like a while, and nobody even really knew. So
I
Yeah.
personally think that it's possible that we could clone and make a DNA, or make a dinosaur. When I say DNA, in the future, I think with the way modern science and technology is moving, it's extremely possible that in the next 20 years we could have
I
that.
think so too. They've already they've already re-engineered birds with teeth and stuff.
yeah, chickens with teeth, velociraptor.
Why would they give them teeth? Would they don't have teeth?
Well, they were doing DNA splicing, and then they opened one of the genes, and then they were born with dinosaur teeth. So
Because since birds and dinosaurs have a common ancestor.
Or they could
Yeah,
try to
then-
make clones of
Well,
Mike
I
the
think
Hip's
is it
chicken.
dinosaurs? Are all dinosaurs mammals or reptiles? I forget.
Oh,
Those are two
reptiles.
different-
Dinosaurs are reptiles. Dinosaurs and birds are
not
reptiles.
all dinosaurs.
In the
Oh,
book,
wait,
they
they're
discussed that, and I
reptiles.
can't remember. They said everybody thought they were reptiles, and then it's a book, so it's fictional, so maybe it's not true. They said that maybe they're mammals.
Well,
I don't know.
no, mammals are totally different. Mammals are on the totally different. Mammals split from reptiles like 300,000 years ago.
Yeah, we all know humans are trees, according to that one guy. So
And reptiles are
joking, by the way.
cold-blooded. Mammals are warm-blooded.
But so birds are warm-blooded and they're reptiles.
Hmm.
I mean, there's a platypus who's like a mammal who lays eggs and is also a duck. So a scientist does not even in that case. So
Well, in the book, they get the DNA from like bugs that were trapped in
Bugs.
amber. But
Yeah.
I know that for a fact that, and now in DNA science, that if you can get, because I watch a lot of there's like these shows on Netflix where they like murder. What's it called?
Murder, She Wrote?
No, they're like murder stories where they follow a murder, a real life murder, and they tell you all the details about it. And the fact that they've come up with these
Murder
sciences
mystery.
that can take the smallest DNA, just the smallest, and they can expand it out, the smallest sample, and then they can find who it's from that. So the science itself has grown a lot over the years. It's possible they could get the actual DNA that they need to clone an animal from bones, maybe, or something if they found it.
yeah, well, I mean, they did with the frozen mammoth, so it technically did happen. It's just that it was a slight failure. So
Well, they made that sheep that back in the 90s.
but yeah, sheep. They
That
cloned the
dolly.
sheep.
The dolly and the clone had kids. So clones can't have kids.
Wait, who's in custody of the freaking kids though? Is it the clone sheep or is it the original sheep? Whose kids are these sheep?
Well, I think the clones died now, and the kids have kids now.
Oh,
Oh God.
Do you guys
Yeah.
ever see the new Blade Runner movie?
I did.
2049.
Is that the guy, the Vampire Hunter, Marvel Vampire Hunter guy?
No, Blade Runner. Blade Runner is a futuristic story about androids, kind of like humanoid robots, and basically the premise is that androids could be more human than human, and that's the premise. And the story is very how would I say? The story is very loose. Well, not loose. It has a lot of open ends, and
Yeah,
the
like
story
probably the
could be
biggest
interpreted.
one that was in the original movie is whether or not Harrison Ford's character is human or one of the androids. And in 2049, they continued to leave that question ambiguous.
I mean, I know that there are Blade Runner fans who liked it, so
It's weird because I know that a lot of people loved it when it came out, and then I go to one of my professors at school. I ask if he saw it only because in that unit I was in a cinematic technique online class, and we had to examine what were his 5 favorite movies, and Blade Runner was one of them. And I asked, "Oh, did you see the sequel that came out?" He's like, "Oh, no, not yet, but I heard a lot of people saying it sucked."
it wasn't
I'm like
sucky.
thinking,
It's just
"Who thought
that
it
it was
sucked?"
very loose. Yeah, it wasn't sucky. It was just that it was very
A lot of
open.
movies are subject to what I think it's called. There's a word for it. It's like sequelitis or sequel syndrome or something like that, where no matter how good the sequel is, people just won't watch it or won't like it because they like the first one so much.
I don't
you
know. Some
Yeah.
sequels, I like some
Exception-
sequels.
Star
Maybe.
Wars.
An
I
exception may be Back to the Future, because when I talk to them, a lot of people say that Back to the Future 2 is their favorite. So
yeah, I did like that sequel.
Well, I know a lot of
Not
people
all
thought
movies, just
Terminator 2 was better than Terminator 1, or at least
Yeah,
some
that's
people
also-
did. Yeah.
that's also pretty accepted that people
Almost
like
the same.
Terminator 2.
It was also kind of the same thing with Aliens versus Alien. Oh, speaking of which, apparently there's some people that actually tried to merge Blade Runner with the continuity of Alien.
What?
Oh, they're directed by the same guy. That's probably why.
Yeah, they are directed by the same guy, and apparently that director claimed, "Oh, they do exist in the same universe," or so I heard.
Would that be like let's see, what's his name? God, I can't remember his name now. The Transformer guy. What's Transformer
Michael
guy?
Bay.
If Michael Bay tried to put Transformers and Turtles in the same universe.
What?
Did he
That's
come out with
disgusting.
another Turtles movie, or was that?
Yeah,
was that still in the-
they came out with a second one, but not a third one.
Yeah, like the,
The people said the sequel was surprisingly good, like it was better than the first, but both movies are trash. So,
Can I get a Suwoo?
whoa, that's my best. So,
yeah, I guess be like, yeah, let's put the Turtles with the Transformers team up.
No,
What's the
Van
second one
Daly,
called?
you're not gonna believe this. Apparently, Hasbro acquired the rights to Power Rangers with Saban's blessing. You know what this means? We might get another. This was not announced, but now it's theoretically possible for the Turtles to cross over with the Power Rangers again.
Oh God, because that worked so well last time.
Book with the Power
The turtles
Rangers,
exist. The turtles exist in the same universe as gummy bears. So I'm
What
joking.
the fuck?
Because you said Hasbro, and I thought of the gummy bear company, even though it's a different name.
The only gummy bear cartoon I heard
Oh,
was the
I
Disney
get what
one.
you're saying.
Oh, different gummy bears, like the.
I forgot what they're called, but there's something close to has. There has something. So
You mean?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I think
Pretty
I
sure
know.
there's a. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the other company you're talking about is also called Hasbro. Let me look.
No, I think
Harbro.
it's
It's called
Haribo.
Harbro. It's like Harbro. They make gummy bears, and they make Coca-Cola flavored gummies or something. Harbro.
What the-
Oh,
Isn't that the Coca-Cola flavored
Haribo.
gummies?
Haribo.
Yeah,
That's right.
see, I
Haribo.
told you.
Whoops.
With the kid CEOs.
It's sad that we know what that brand is.
Oh, God.
Well, we probably have it kind of like that head-on commercial. We have it in our heads, drilled in our heads.
No, it's freaking sad that me and Brandon found out that there is such a thing as Ogeros and how we actually found the commercial for it. It literally ends with when you invite Shrek to breakfast, things get a lot more interesting.
You have a strange definition of interesting.
did you know the Super Mario cereal came back for Super Mario Odyssey's release?
Well, yeah, I knew that.
That's
It
not
wasn't
anything.
exactly the same. It looks like it would taste like Captain Crunch or something, but it actually tastes like Fruit Loops. That's what
Did you just say it tastes like Fruit Loops?
That's what people said on the internet when I saw the reviews. Did you get it? Because I never got it. So
Follow
I
your-
didn't. I
follow
never
your nose.
owned. I never owned a box. However, I met up with a friend that had a box at the time, and he gave literally the last amount of cereal to me, and it filled up a bowl. I tasted it. It's literally the same as Lucky Charms, except better, because the other pieces that aren't marshmallow pieces actually have a flavor to it that tastes good instead of just,
yeah,
what the
People
Lucky
said
Charms
that-
brains taste
yeah,
like.
people said that tasted like Fruit Loops. So
No,
Oh,
I
no.
would agree with that. It does not taste anything like Fruit Loops.
The last words.
No,
For a
no.
fact.
All of you, everyone who watched the Nostalgia Critic commercials video, I know it's bad to talk about Nostalgia Critic now, but the one commercial he reviewed of cereal was Kix. The one
yeah.
cereal that literally advertised having no flavor as a selling point.
No, he also did the Nintendo cereal.
Oh, he did?
He did a bunch of cereal. He did a Nintendo cereal. He did Oreo O's. He did that. He did Kix. So
Yeah,
he did a bunch of cereal.
Still, I thought the Kix commercials were the most hilarious.
It's like the freaking Earthbound marketing, where it's
Oh,
like
he
this
also-
game
no,
smells.
He also did Grape Nuts.
Grape nuts. Grape nuts.
Oh, God.
Oh, speaking of that, so speaking of that, you know what's up with that? Any news? If he's
There's no new news.
Well,
Other
speaking-
than they're still ignoring it pretty much.
so he's still with
Oh.
the Channel Awesome then.
Yeah.
So-
Well,
So
speaking of,
real fast, before you leave, you know anything about that Channel Awesome issue, Matt?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Essentially, in short, it was found that the CEO of Channel Awesome, well, thing is, I knew about this for a while because a few of the former producers talked about it, but essentially the CEO of Channel Awesome was a dickhead who didn't communicate well with any of the staff, and when a lot of former producers that got fired by him voiced their concerns. He ended up making an angry blog post calling them liars, which resulted in nearly everybody leaving the site.
I don't know what Channel Awesome is.
It's a
It's the
YouTube
guy
company in
who
the same
ran
vein.
It's the guy, the site that hosts Nostalgia Critic.
It's the same vein as Rooster Teeth, Screw Attack, Normal Boots. It's like those guys.
Do you
It's
ever
in the
heard,
same vein.
you ever heard Nostalgia Critic, Matt?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Nostalgia Critic is Channel Awesome's Channel Awesome is a Nostalgia Critic website.
Yeah, I figured you knew him because you used to watch Angry Video Game Nerd a lot, and they did crossover with each other.
Yeah, I watch him, and I've never heard of this before, though. There's another sort of like, there's a word for it. They're like a conglomerate. There's like they try to grab people and put them into like one sort of area or one website. You know, there's one for these retro guys that I watch. It's called Retroware. And they make old video game stuff, and they've got like, they try to sign like people for contracts and stuff, and
Like what was it called? Not communities.
there's a name for it.
What was that thing that we
Partnership network.
networking?
Networks, yeah. They're like networks. Is that what it is?
I used to be one. They dropped me because I wasn't popular enough.
There's Machinima. That's a
Yeah,
Machinima
my-
sucked, though.
Yeah, Machinima kind of went downhill. In fact, Darkside Phil was the only guy I knew who still had a Machinima partnership.
Screw
And then
Attack.
he did a bunch of dickhead moves that got him fired.
My favorite YouTube network will probably always be Normal Boots because Johnson, PBG, different all that. But anyways,
Yeah, even though John Sean seems to never upload.
John Sean has opinions and he voiced them wrong.
Yeah, so JonTron kind of disappeared because of it.
We're all on
No,
network.
he didn't disappear. He still made videos afterwards.
The three
I mean,
of us.
yeah, but it got his voice cameo ukulele removed, though all he did was speak the incoherent gibberish. Oddly enough, he also did a voice cameo for A Hat in Time, which was in actual English, and from what I've heard, that one wasn't removed.
Yeah.
So Matt, how did you decide on your design for your emote?
For Twitch,
Yeah.
well, you got to come up with something that's worth, like, people
Yeah,
want to.
Look something up.
Just think of a running joke in the channel and create an emote. Like, just make a Shrek emote. There.
Oh God.
You only get one, and nobody's gonna buy the $10 one or the $25 one. You get three technically. Nobody's gonna buy those ones when you're first starting out. So you really only get one, where you might get somebody who buys one, and you want it to relate to your channel. You want it to be funny. It could be anything. It could be like, oh, I'm number one, or whatever. When you win a game, it could be like you suck, or I went around and looked at a lot of other small level Twitch channels and tried to find something that I thought was a common theme from my experiences on Twitch and YouTube, and the one thing I came up with was my Zigazog thing, but it's kind of an inside joke for me and my family.
Well,
Just go around and look at all
the
the
only thing I have is my catchphrase, but I'm thinking I can put that in a emote form.
Well, try getting some inspiration from other people. Go look at all these little affiliates and see what their things are,
I could make a bunch of little icons and make it as like a sprite sheet, except icons, and then I could just give that to you.
Unless I could maybe
So-
put enjoy the randomness inside an onion or something.
Wait, this guy, he's a real small Twitch streamer. He does Hearthstone. His name's E Jordan, but his emote is E Jordan Dab, and it's just like a picture of him dabbing. So it's just like little things. It doesn't even have to be that important, really. It's not that big of a deal.
I guess we'll end it now. There's what was left? You guys have something to talk about after he leaves.
Anyways,
You don't.
I was trying to say, speaking of Mario and stuff like that, and the cereal and Channel Awesome, how do you think the new Mario movie is gonna turn out? Because it's happening.
Well, it's made by a kind of crappy animation studio, so I don't
There's
know.
a new Mario movie.
Yeah,
Was
made
it
by
a live
Illumination.
animation movie?
No, it's not live animation. It's made live animation. Oh my god. Anyways, it's it's going to be made by Illumination.
Wait, is
the
it not
same
live
company that
animation?
made-
What is it?
It's
Illumination.
going to be, dude, there's no such thing as live animation.
What is it then? I forget.
It's
What did I say?
there's live action or there's
Live
animation.
action. Oh, okay, yeah, live action.
Like,
Yeah, now that sounds stupid.
So if you combine the two, is it
Just
live
somebody-
animation or live action animation?
Is it a live action nation?
No, it's not Who Framed Roger Rabbit, whatever that was. So, it's gonna be made by Illumination, the same guys who made Minions, Secret Life of Pets, Despicable Me, those guys.
Oh,
They have a track record.
you
They
know
have a
when
track
you know
for having-
Illumination is kind of crap when you hear this
Yeah.
story.
well,
My
it's
sister,
very
even to this day, is a sucker for cutesy movies like Air Buddies and all that goddamn bullshit.
well, if
She
it's
went to go see The Secret Life of Pets in theaters. She comes home. I ask her, "How was the movie?" It wasn't that good.
as long as it's better than the live action version of Mario, I think everybody would be happy.
No, there's gonna be memes of people saying that Super Mario Brothers movie was the best thing in existence, anyways. So,
No,
Yeah, just go to
Nintendo
some
should
of
have
your
brought
favorite
back
Twitch
this.
streamers and try to look at their emotes. You can get ideas from there for stuff that you might want.
Mario,
That's a good way.
I mean, Matt, did you watch the Mario movie back in the day?
I didn't watch it back in the day, but I went back and rewatched it.
I've watched it a few times over. I find it funny and
It's one of
really.
those things that it's kind of like you don't want to watch, but you do want to watch. It's like,
Yeah.
It's
so bad, but
it's one of
it's
those movies that's so bad that it's good, or it's so
Not
bad
to
that
mention, actually making the movie was a torturous experience for Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo. Apparently, they became drinking buddies to try and get through it. And
no, what
friggin-
happened was the entire set we were like drunk and smoking like during the set while filming it. So it wasn't
There's
just
also
them.
a
It was,
scene where Bob Hoskins actually hurt himself, and he yelled curse words loudly when it happened, and they had to
yeah, it was
put like a
disaster.
pink Band-Aid on him to cover it up.
A pink Band-Aid? Aww.
Mario got a boo boo.
Yeah, Mario got a boo-boo, but if there's seriously gonna be memes praising that movie and demanding a sequel, not gonna happen since Bob Hoskins and Dennis Hopper are dead.
Oh, then there,
Yeah, it's already a meme
Oh,
where people say it's nothing ever, but
then
yeah.
there was the live action TV series.
No,
that was- well,
it was a cartoon
had live
with
action.
live-action segments.
yeah. Well, wait, which is considered the actual show because it
Well,
starts
there
off
was the
back
Super Mar-
and then it
Well,
And then it goes-
there was the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, but then there was also
Yeah.
cartoons based on Mario 3 and Mario World, but they were basically segments of Captain N.
I thought that Super Mario. I never heard of the Super Mario Brothers 3 one. I thought that one was canceled and only the Super Mario World one got shown.
No, the Mario 3 one got made.
Yeah, I watched it.
I've never seen that. Oh, is that
Yeah.
that the anime that's in Japan that has the English dub?
No,
Because there's a Mario
No.
Brothers anime. Oh,
No, first there was the Mario Brothers Super Show, which had the Zelda cartoon in certain segments.
I've
But
seen
then
the
the
entire thing
Mario
on that.
3 cartoon was shown during Season 2 of Captain N, and then the Mario World was Season 3 of Captain N.
I watched a lot of The Simpsons growing up.
I
Not a
don't
movie.
No
think
wonder. I mean, well, you got Ralph as your icon. I'd imagine that.
Actually, speaking of which, I've noticed that for some reason people are playing the game Simpsons Hit and Run recently. Really interesting that suddenly that game is getting interest again.
Isn't that
Dude,
the
that game. Okay. Freaking, I have a story about that game. I went and I first found out by playing it at my cousin's, and then it exploded in popularity for about a year. Then it went down, and now it's exploding in popularity again.
Is that
Basically, Simpsons Hit and Run is Simpsons GTA. That's just what it
is
is.
that the game you quit
So-
playing for a while, Snick?
Yeah, it's the game I quit playing for a while because even though it's a ridiculous game you can have fun with, well, for one thing, it's kind of even though it is a GTA clone, 90% of the game is spent driving. Like, I don't even know why they may as well have not even put the on foot sections.
Simpson.
I mean, well, there was actually an earlier Simpsons driving game called Simpsons Road Rage, which was basically a Crazy Taxi clone. It was such a similar clone that Sega actually tried to sue the developer.
Simpsons Need for Pant.
What the fuck?
Oh, God, but the whole thing is the story of Simpsons Hit and Run is incredibly difficult, so I kind of quit playing it because, well, you know me and racing games don't mix.
The story is difficult?
I got to the
like,
BART
especially when you
section,
get to,
and
like,
then I
the
got
very,
really
like,
hard.
When I got to, like, even on, like, the third chapter where you're playing as Lisa, it gets ridiculous.
I mean, there's some levels that are hard, but, I mean, level 3 is pretty doable.
Whenever I think of
I mean,
that,
it's not
I know
hard-
that the last
it's not the
level. I
hardest-
know the last level in particular is ridiculous.
whenever I think of that Mario remake, I think of that that guy, the younger guy. What's his name? Is it John? That's
John Leguizamo?
yeah. I always think of that Romeo and Juliet movie that he was.
Yeah, because he played Tibble in the modernized one with Leonardo DiCaprio.
DiCaprio. That movie was. I like that movie, but it's different. It's so different.
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
it's very stylized, even though it's set in modern day, and they modernize all the elements. Like, instead of being, like, royal families, instead they're crime families, and they use guns instead of swords. Despite all that, they still use the original Shakespeare dialogue.
I heard the West Side Story was a Romeo and Juliet remake.
I mean, it basically is, but it does its own thing at a lot of points.
Well, I was thinking about something today when I saw that Avengers movie. Thanos has this thing where he thinks it's better to kill off a few to save the whole rest of the world.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Population control.
Yeah, and I heard of that theme before Thanos, and I wondered if it was an anime I saw where I think
Well,
it was
an
Fate
arc in
Zero.
a comic.
What's
May have
that?
been in an anime.
Well, I think they
Well,
talked about. I remember they talked about. They did that on the. You ever watch Sliders?
No.
They did that on one of the world Earths they went to. They control the population by killing people off every so many years to keep population under 1 million.
I remember there was this one book series that I didn't have to read, but it was in elementary school. I read the book. And apparently in that book series, I forget its name, apparently it's in a future where there's population police, and they make it to where parents can only have 2 kids. If they have any more, those kids are taken and executed.
Don't they do that?
Isn't it?
So the main character of the book is a third child that has to basically live his entire life in hiding.
Don't they do that?
Isn't that what China does?
That's what I was gonna say.
Well, China, supposedly they're only allowed to have 1 kid, and you wouldn't get executed for it, probably arrested, but supposedly you can actually go to the government and request permission to have another kid if you desire to have a kid of a specific gender or something. Like, if you want a boy to, be an heir to the family and you have a girl instead, and if you wanted to try for a boy, you'd have to ask the government about it.
Yeah, I can't even fathom that. All right, guys, I'm gonna go.
See ya.
I'm gonna go eat my dinner and hang out. Maybe play some PUBG with my friend.
Hmm.
It was good talking to y'all.
Bye.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Nick, MarioTube, Lamont, and then the other fella. I think his name's Brandon, right?
Yeah.
All right, Brandon. See y'all later.
No, Jesse's in the call.
I thought his
Well,
name
yeah,
was Brandon.
Jesse is in here.
Yeah, Brandon's not here. This guy's Jesse.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I don't know you. I guess maybe I've seen you in the streams before, but
Yeah, this would be the first time you're talking to him.
well, alrighty. Nice to meet y'all. Talk to y'all later.
See y'all
Bye.
next
Have a
time.
good podcast.
Bye. And then there were
Actually, Hauser reminded me of my situation when he mentioned, wow. Okay, great job, Mind. Not Not what the actual Shakespeare movie was. No, the fucking Princess Bride. Yes,
Princess
totally.
Bride? What the hell?
No, Romeo and Juliet. When he mentioned Romeo and Juliet, I'm like, oh god, because
That
I have to deal with the freaking Shakespeare crap in my theater class, and I really don't like Shakespeare all that much.
Well, Shakespeare in theater class makes sense because you're reading plays.
But see, my problem though is the fact that if I'm gonna choose a class that I want to take, I'm expecting to learn about the skill and not the past. Me reading Shakespeare, in terms of learning skills, doesn't teach me fucking shit, if anything.
No, actually, I think a lot of times learning Shakespeare plays is important for actors because they are so strange by today's standards that they're difficult to master, that if you can master them, then you can do anything.
What do you mean?
Like, they use an older English that's not even close to what the English language is today.
kind of like
Oh yeah. Sorry to interrupt. Wait a minute. I want to say this real quick. Sorry to interrupt, but when you say Old English, you know what my teacher would have said in response?
What?
It's not Old English. It's English.
No, it's Old English. Kind of like people don't like the English of the King James Bible. People talk like that anymore.
Yeah, let's just say your teacher just saying it's English. All I'm going to say to that is wah wah. Because let's just say that 500 years ago, and even especially 1,000 years ago, the English language was nothing like it is today.
Yeah, he straight up told the class there is no Old English.
Yes, there
Have
is.
you ever read the King James Bible, Mario?
No.
Well,
I've never even heard of one, actually.
Wow.
So.
Is the King James Bible the one that has the word ass in it so much?
Maybe I know but it has the
Because ABGN discovered that when he read a Game Boy version of the Bible.
It has like a.
Damn it.
It has like a. Stop hitting your head.
No, I'm trying to get a fucking piece of food out of my keyboard. Now it's being a pain in the ass. I'm gonna have to mute my mic.
Well, it has the words, and ye shall go with to the water to be baptized in that thing. It's like, yeah, they talk really weird in that thing. Like,
Yeah, well, the whole thing is, so, yeah, Shakespeare, like, all schools are going to cover that at some point. Like, in my high school, I had to do one Shakespeare play a year. Romeo and Juliet was done first in freshman year. It was then, oh shit, bye-bye MarioTube. But then second year I had to do Othello. Or wait. Yeah, Othello.
I mean, what's that play about again?
It was something about it was like a quote-unquote Moorish general. And like, betrayal and all that.
See, I know about Romeo and Juliet. I know Hamlet. I know Macbeth.
Yeah, junior year I did Macbeth, and then senior year I did Hamlet. Funny thing is, movie versions of all four of those plays exist.
Yeah.
Othello, we did not watch the movie any movie version at all.
Isn't the Hamlet version called The Lion King?
No, we did not watch Lion King.
But I mean, isn't that what it's called? Isn't Lion King based on kind of Hamlet?
Yeah, Lion King is based on Hamlet's story, and then Lion King 2 is based on Romeo and Juliet's story, albeit loosely. Well, both of them, albeit loosely. But in freshman year, like when my sister did Romeo and Juliet, she had to watch the old version from the 60s. Me, I was just showing the Leonardo DiCaprio one we were just discussing. In fact, numerous times leading up to the screening, we were warned, even though it was set in modern day, it used the original Shakespeare language.
It's the same thing with Macbeth, too.
Yeah. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. There was a 1995 version of Othello with Lawrence Fishburne playing Othello, but we didn't watch that.
Oh,
Like we didn't even get it mentioned.
also Taming of the Shrew. I remember that one.
Well, I never heard of that one. In junior year with Macbeth, we tried this weird experiment where we tried watching 4 different versions of Macbeth, though it did not work. Like, first we were shown basically a stage play version from the 70s, which notably featured a young Judi Dench playing Lady Macbeth.
Oh. Did they show the scene of them murdering the children, but did they use dolls instead?
We didn't watch that far, so I don't know.
Oh.
The second version was this weird science fiction, seemingly made for elementary school. That's the best way to describe it, because it had this weird intro that looked straight out of a freaking amateur Windows Movie Maker project that apparently came out in 1996, but we didn't watch much of that one either.
For kids.
Then there was a 2006 version that I think was made in Australia and was modernized. We only watched like the first 2 minutes of that. And then the version we ended up watching the most of was actually weirdly stylized. Like, it was made for PBS in 2010, but it was kind of interesting. Instead of going modern day or like the original Shakespeare period, they went for a World War II style setting.
But did it have Patrick Stewart as Macbeth?
Yeah, that was the one. Patrick Stewart.
That's the one that we watched in class. Because I'm doing Macbeth now, in sophomore year, and that's the movie version we watched. We watched all the way through that one.
Yeah, we watched all the way through that one too.
When did that come out?
2010.
2006. Or
10.
Really? That recently? I thought it was 2006.
Well, the Australian one I mentioned was 2006.
I was wondering about that, because I heard that Patrick Stewart used to be a theater actor a long time ago.
He probably was.
He's been an actor for many a millennia, so...
Yeah, I mean, well, he played Captain Picard in Star Trek.
Yeah, before that, he was a theater actor, and he got that part. First.
But yeah, it was very stylized, and it had like lots of interesting imagery. It was very weird.
I'll see this much, like the witches or the weird sisters,
they were
whatever
nurses.
they call them. I thought in the 2010 version they had like the best intro.
Yeah, they have like they just stand there in a giant room, all 3, and then spotlights come on. And instead of witches, they're actually like nurses.
Yeah, they are nurses.
Hey, Snake, do you know the catchphrase?
What is it?
Double, double, toil and trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, that. Yeah, I forgot. It's been a while.
Cauldron, bubble. I can't.
Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burning, cauldron, bubble. Yeah, that's my favorite version of that. The Harry Potter version.
Yeah, from Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Where was that? Where was that?
They sing that like as soon as they get to the school.
Oh
like,
yeah, the intro,
the
like
choir.
song.
And then they say something wicked this way comes, and then a toad goes ribbit. So.
Well,
he's back.
Well, I successfully managed to crash my computer by trying to get a piece of food out of my fucking keyboard. And I'm surprised it didn't even blue screen.
Upside down, seriously.
I did.
There was the pepperoni stuck in the escape key.
Anyways, before I get interrupted, senior year we had to read Hamlet. We ended up trying to watch 3 versions. The one version we made it through was the 1990 version where Mel Gibson played Hamlet. Like, that one was probably out of all the Shakespeare adaptations we watched, that was throughout high school, that was the only one that was actually set in the time period it was written in.
Yep.
Weirdly, they probably did use the Shakespeare talk. Like, maybe I'm just thinking of the way Mel Gibson acted in it. But We were briefly shown the Kenneth Branagh version, which was like 4 hours long, and it's like this big epic.
So, whoa. Lord of the
Like
Rings
that
by
one,
Shakespeare.
that one, I think they moved the setting to like Victorian era London. Notably, Kate Winslet was in it, and that movie came out the same year as the DiCaprio Romeo and Juliet, and then look where they ended up a year later.
Was that before the Titanic thing?
Yeah, 96 was the year before Titanic. I think they were filming in 96, actually, for Titanic. Because I know the movie itself is set in 96.
They had two movies together then.
Yeah, like they both appear in a Shakespeare adaptation just before Titanic. I actually know that I think there was one point where the act Claire Danes, who played Juliet in the Romeo and Juliet movie, was considered for Rose, but then quickly Kate Winslet got it. Then again, I don't know. Like, I heard it once. I'm not sure if it was true, but anyways, so that version of Hamlet, we only watched a couple of minutes, and then there was a version from 2000 where Ethan Hawke played Hamlet, and just like the Romeo and Juliet DiCaprio movie, the Hamlet, the 2000 version of Hamlet was also set in modern day, and instead of like freaking being like kings, like being a kingdom, instead Hamlet's father was the head of like this tech company.
Cool.
But though once again they were using the Shakespeare talk. We watched a lot more of that version because we had to have a substitute for a couple of days. We only got like halfway through it though.
So
yeah.
Hey, so Jesse, what do you do? When you get substitutes, when you have substitutes, do you guys do work or do you guys watch movies?
For the most part, the teachers have so little faith in us that they assign us one piece of homework that has like 8 questions for the entire class period, and then that's about it. So
Usually when we have substitute, we had most time we had movies to watch.
in elementary school it was like that, but now in middle school and high school it's pretty much just one piece of paper or just research. So
No fun for you.
It's funny because in middle school I didn't get that many movie rewards. Like I remember in 7th grade we were, when it was like getting close to Christmas vacation, we were supposed to be watching this one movie about like development, like this one fictional movie that was talking about, that was like set in an African country because it was like very geography themed. But the only catch is the only kids that could watch the movie had to have caught up on all their work, and middle school Schnick was not caught up on his work, so he had to fucking do some work before he got to watch the movie, even though he barely paid attention to it. He was just brainstorming shitty RPG, more or less.
so far the only
What I was going to say is the only other big movie event I had in middle school was in 8th grade, where we actually were going to go on a field trip to go, like essentially there's a local theater that will just play movies for local events. We rented out the theater and we were going to watch The Patriot with Mel Gibson. And thankfully, middle school Schnick was doing good because he had to get that PlayStation 3. And I got to go on the trip.
Yay!
And meanwhile, my sister got the same movie when she made it to 8th grade. They didn't rent out the theater. They just simply plopped everybody in the auditorium.
When I went during my 8th grade trip to Washington, D.C., on the way there, they showed Grease. On the way back, they showed Star Wars Episode 4.
Hey,
Trying to think of what movies I watched during field trips. I remember, let's see, the last big field trip I went on was when my marching band went to Annapolis. If you don't know where Annapolis is, it's in Maryland. That's like easily a 4-hour drive from my house.
It's the capital of Maryland,
Annapolis
isn't it?
is really close to Metro.
It is the capital of Maryland, right?
I don't know. So
Ideally, is it?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, we had to go there for a marching band competition. In fact, I still have a cup themed after the Navy that I got from there. Souvenir. I know that on the way down, we watched first Dumb and Dumber and then Christmas Vacation. Or wait, maybe Christmas Vacation was on the way. No, I think Christmas Vacation was on the way back.
Christmas
Um,
vacation.
so the
Think
movies
I-
that
Yeah.
I've seen in middle school, year one middle school, we watched Hunger Games and probably a Disney movie or two. And then during 7th and 8th grade, pretty much all the movies that I saw were in Spanish because I took Spanish classes. So we just watched like Disney movies in Spanish
Oh,
and stuff like that. And we had to kind of like translate.
yeah. I mean, I
in
know that
freshman
in
year,
6th grade,
we
when
watched-
we were on the bus to medieval times, we had to watch Hercules on the bus just because we were doing a Greek unit in English.
During freshman, we watched a movie called Concussion.
Concussion? Is that with Will Smith?
Yeah, it's about like the doctor guy, and he has to prove how the football is causing people to go getting concussions. So, and how the NFL was getting really a lot of backlash from it.
Yeah.
And we also saw Romeo and Juliet. I don't know what version it was. It seemed
Who
to be
was in
19.
it and what setting did it have?
Had the classic Romeo and Juliet setting, like it was very faithful. It had all the clothing, stuff like that.
How new did it look?
Pretty old, 1990, I would say, maybe 1980.
Wait, if it looked old, it may have been the 60s version my sister had to
No,
watch.
it wasn't. It wasn't that old. It was in color.
It was
it
in,
just-
well, the 60s version was in color too.
Well, it didn't look.
Like the thing is, I've marathoned movies in the 60s and the 70s. You'd be surprised how recent some of them look.
Yeah, you could.
2001: A Space Odyssey looks pretty amazing. Even though
Yeah,
it was,
2001: A Space Odyssey was released in '69, I think, and that one looks
Yeah.
pretty recent.
Hey, do you?
that Space Odyssey looks amazing. Space Odyssey, yeah.
Do you think you can
Yeah.
tell when the movie came out by what it looks like?
I mean, after marathoning through a bunch of movies, like I can kind of identify when a movie was what decade a movie was released just by looking at it.
I
I,
can
mean,
kind
the emphasis on kind of, because
can-
it also depends on how big the budget was.
I can kind of do that with music. I can tell that's a '70s song. That's an '80s song.
Oh, the '80s! It's very easy to pick out a song from the '80s
Yeah.
because music from the '80s was heavily synthesized.
Yeah.
It
Synthesized,
just has that '80s synth.
and 60s is usually just classic rock. So, by classic
guys-
rock, I mean like it's not like rock and roll. It's like before rock and roll.
Yeah, Mario.
Before roll.
I didn't really get to finish what I was saying about my whole thing with Shakespeare before my computer crashed.
Go on then.
Well, first, I want to know what you guys said while I was gone for that moment.
Oh,
I
I
was
said
basically just discussing all the Shakespeare stuff I had to read in English class in high school.
And all the different Shakespeare movies that came out throughout the
Yeah.
me and Schnick
Like I
ended up
noted
seeing
out
the
of
same.
all the Shakespeare adaptations I had to watch in high school, only the 1990 version of Hamlet was actually set in a contemporary Shakespeare setting. Except
and
for
me
maybe
and
the
Schnick,
stage play version of Macbeth, but we only watched a few minutes of that.
me and Schnick ended up seeing the same Macbeth movie
Yeah, we
featuring
did.
Patrick Stewart. So the Macbeth movie was really stylized and was kind of weird. So
I mean, well, like normally the thing that Shakespeare adaptations would do was either stay in the Shakespeare time, or they would move to a more contemporary setting. Like
the Macbeth one was-
that Macbeth movie with Patrick Stewart, they went to like a World War II style setting.
yeah, they had guns, and what's really strange is that even though they had guns, there was one scene that required a sword to be there, so one guy just ended up having a sword.
I mean,
So-
it would kind of make sense. Like maybe Maybe it was a World War One setting and not World War II, because if it was World War One, it would make sense for them to have swords, because there were a lot of combat troops that used swords in World War One.
Yeah, there were like scimitars, stuff like that. But like they had pretty modern-ish guns, and the design.
Like I could
military.
have sworn I saw guns that looked like MP40s.
Yeah, and plus the clothing was very World War II-ish.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, well, then again, I'm fairly certain that back then it wasn't unusual for a sword to be present.
Yeah. And then the final fight with Macbeth and Macduff, they used knives. Like,
They
really
used knives? Oh, that would make sense, yes.
Yeah, Macbeth and Macduff were fighting with knives, and it reminded me a lot of the Leon versus, Leon versus Krogger scene from Resident Evil 4 reminded me a lot of that.
Yeah, the quick time event.
Yeah.
Well, anyways,
the Leon and Chris fight from Resident Evil 6, because they didn't fight each other with knives.
They just kind of ran at each other.
Okay, Mario's turn now.
anyways, so what I was gonna say before my computer crashed was that my teacher basically said that there is no such thing as Old English,
Wow.
and and
then I said, read the
I
Bible, you bitch. No.
I personally think that if there's going to be any Shakespeare stuff, either it should stay in English, or the teacher should have covered Shakespeare when we were doing the history segment. Because if anyone even remembers my complaints from several months ago, I complained about how a lot of my classes ended up... Actually, no, not several months, more like the beginning of the school year. But I complained how a lot of my classes that I chose ended up literally having a history segment. And I hated it because, well, like I said earlier, if I choose a class, I expect to learn the skill, not the history behind it. If I wanted to learn the history behind it, I wouldn't have signed up for the class that taught me about the skill. I mean, it should be that simple, yet somehow it's complicated. It's like,
Yeah.
what is
like,
why?
I didn't sign up for a history of Shakespeare or history of English. I signed up for English.
It's like
I'm not-
it's like even in math class, they're like, okay, kids, time to learn about the Pythagorean theorem, but first, let's learn who Pythagorean was. So.
Really? Your math class did that?
Yeah, we had to learn who Pythagorean was. There was like an entire
Greek-
story. It was only for one day.
Are you fucking
Pythagorean was some
kidding?
Greek guy in the BC era. Okay, there you go.
I've never had a math class that literally went in the history of a particular part of math. That's fucking just wow.
See, geometry was.
I think I would have just quit at that point, honestly.
Okay, class. Today we're going to learn about geometry. But first, you see, geometry was invented in the 1800s by the...
Yeah, I honestly think I would have just quit.
Parallel universes.
No. You need to know how my geography teacher opened the class.
No.
So this was in sophomore year of high school. There's actually a bit of a story that doesn't have to do much to do with the class itself, or in the fact that it happened in the class. So she opened, okay, class, let's open with a riddle or a joke. Try to figure out this joke. I do this with every class. What does a tree say when it's planted?
Ow.
No. You know what the answer is?
Bark?
Well,
Gee, I'm a tree.
what?
Get it?
Oh, no, Schnick, no.
What's
She
funny about it?
she went there.
No,
Geometry.
she said
Gee,
geometry.
I'm a tree.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And a lot of kids are like, oh, okay. Those who laugh at my jokes get extra credit.
Those are fake!
Well,
She didn't say that, but...
Damn it.
Freaking today in my Spanish class, she was saying like we were doing our questions, right? We have like a sheet of paper and we have to write down questions and like answers to the questions that the teacher may tell us. And it's through all our vocabulary units. And one of the questions was, what are your teachers like? And then as a joke, I said people were saying like in the back, they're like lame, boring, like that. They were saying that in Spanish though. And then after that, she just kind of walked around because she knew it was a joke. And then I said feo, which just means ugly in Spanish. And then she's like,
I knew that crap.
yeah.
Shit.
And then she's, Jesse, did you just say ugly? And then I'm just like, yeah, I don't mean it though. It's a joke. And then after that, she got really, really mad at me. I'm like, I'm pretty sure lame and all of that other stuff is more insulting than feo.
Wow. But yeah,
Slightly unkilling. So
yeah. I just don't like Shakespeare, honestly. I mean, the only Shakespeare thing I actually liked at all would have to be Hamlet. And from what I've heard, apparently, according to my fucking theater teacher, Hamlet is the only true original story that Shakespeare made.
Really?
what?
Yeah, because
I don't-
apparently, other like all the other stories like Romeo and Juliet, those were taken from somewhere else. Just like how Disney made their classic movies.
No,
It's
Macbeth
funny
is
because
like,
freaking Lion King, one of the more famous Disney movies, is loosely based on Hamlet.
yeah, and plus the freaking Macbeth wasn't based on anything other. He based Macbeth on real life stuff. Like
Was
there
it-
is actually
He based
Turnham.
Macbeth on real life stuff, and then you have
Yeah,
freaking
no.
Jimmy Neutron bringing Macbeth in space.
Yeah, didn't they? There was a real life guy named Macbeth in the Scottish history. They did a segment
Yeah.
of that on. You ever watch Gargoyles?
No.
No.
They
I've seen an episode, but I've never like actually got into it.
I watched
Only
the entire-
Evangelia things.
I watched the entire thing in the '90s. It was they had a whole arc about Macbeth.
Hmm.
How he came.
But yeah, Macbeth was a real person, and there's actually a place you could go in Scotland that's exactly like the place. Like there's Burnham Wood, and then there's like a little hill, and there's like a place where a fortress used to be. So it turns out
How
Macbeth was
accurate
just a
is the
leader and
Macbeth
killed another
story
one.
to history?
Yeah, well, Macbeth wasn't actually like it was basically like Macbeth was a king and he killed another king, and that was about it.
Basically,
there was no drama.
Oh, so
Well,
they
the king-
dramatized
the
it a
king-
little bit?
He wasn't king when he
Yeah.
killed somebody in the history thing. I think his cousin was king, and he was when he died. They're both descendants of a king, like cousins or second cousins. So he took over the Scotland after he killed his cousin, and then his son became king, and then the guy's son who he killed his son. So
I heard that.
I mean, I'm
Macbeth-
only saying
so
that
we
because
learned-
another movie that was set in Scotland's history, Braveheart, even though everybody loves Braveheart, it's probably one of the most historically inaccurate movies ever made. Like, essentially, they get everything. Like, there was actually a guy called William Wallace, except they get pretty much everything about him wrong, except the fact that he led an invasion against England.
well, most historical movies aren't very historical.
I mean, well, a lot of them do at least try to stay accurate and only take liberties in order to tell a better story, but which is exactly what Braveheart did. Like, for instance, the movie depicts William Wallace as being just a poor Scot boy that later joins like a group of poor Scots. In reality, the real William Wallace was actually quite rich and was a member of a family of nobles.
Yeah, actually, Vandalia, I'm looking this up. Yeah, Macbeth was just a guy who killed a king named Duncan and became a king. That was it. There was no cousins involved. There was just a guy named Macbeth
No,
who
I'm
killed
pretty
a
sure.
king
I'm
Duncan.
pretty sure he was they were cousins or.
No,
'Cause
they weren't
no,
related at all.
No, because I'm pretty sure because I used to study royal family trees in high school. I used to make charts about
But
them.
don't forget, new information gets uncovered regularly.
Yeah, so stuff gets like destroyed and all that, and stuff gets redone, reworked,
Like I'm trying to
restudied.
think of historical facts that were later disproven.
The fish being extinct.
Well, yeah, there's that, but I know there's some examples that I remembered seeing, but
Oh.
Cracking
can't
your
think of-
knuckles gives you arthritis. Wasn't that proved fake?
I remember that.
Funny enough, that's something my mom actually warned me about.
I mean, I'm talking
and I
about
never listened.
historical events, like like I actually remember reading one today. Franklin Roosevelt was often believed to have polio, which was why he was paralyzed.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, a lot of people have looked back at his symptoms and found that a lot of them don't really match polio that much. In reality, they seem to more so match with another disease called Guillain-Barré syndrome or something like that. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong.
Yeah. Oh, I also know another one. The story of George Washington and how he chopped down an apple tree and then told the truth about
It
it.
was a cherry tree.
Yeah, that was also the cherry tree.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure. I'm sure that was folklore.
Yeah, Johnny Appleseed. I always thought Johnny Appleseed was a fable, and people said it was real, and then like I thought there was a Johnny.
You had to bring up Johnny Appleseed because we read a book so ridiculous in third grade that even the teacher had to tell us it was ridiculous.
Why? What was it about?
Essentially, it told the Johnny Appleseed story, except the version of Johnny Appleseed we were reading about was basically Chuck Norris.
What?
There was
Chuck
one
Appleseed.
part of the book where Johnny Appleseed's resting on a tree, a venomous snake bites him in the foot. He doesn't even flinch at it.
And then Chuck Norris comes to save him.
No, it would have been perfect if in the book read once Johnny Appleseed was bitten in the foot by a cobra. After 5 agonizing days, the cobra died as Johnny Appleseed stood triumphant.
No, I thought that Chuck Norris joke would be more about that one guy that beat the railroad machine. What was that guy's name?
John Henry.
Yeah, who hammered himself to death against the machine.
Yeah, I know the John Henry story, but no. Like, freaking this Johnny Appleseed book, you just got me thinking about it. Yeah, it just showed him as a freaking invincible Chuck Norris figure until they talk about his old age, and it's like, he got sick for the first time!
Oh, and then there was Paul...
And now he's dead!
And then there was Paul
Yeah,
Bunyan.
Yeah, Paul Bunyan. I like Paul Bunyan, even though he fails at the end.
He does?
Yeah, he fails at the end.
How's he fail?
Basically, he's a giant. He cuts down trees. He makes friends with the giant bull, and then eventually, this guy invents the chainsaw. And then the chainsaw was faster than him at cutting down trees, so then he was useless. So then he moved to live in the mountains for the rest of his life.
When did the chainsaw get invented?
I don't know.
Because Paul Bunyan is at least 1800s. Like, is the chainsaw really that old?
I mean, I read a.
I don't see how the chainsaw could be faster than him, because he could chop down like 50 trees at once. What was that?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It says that he chops down 50 trees in one swing. And then we watched a cartoon adaptation of the story. And then it just shows the guy. I don't think so. I just
because
remember
there was
the
a Disney version of Paul Bunyan that they made. It was a short, though.
Yeah, it was pretty short. But basically, it's like, all right, on your marks, get set, go. And he pulls the chainsaw and he just goes flying and ripping through forests. And then there's Paul Bunyan swinging away like Link. doing spin attacks.
It's weird.
And then
Yeah, I can understand the war between the John Henry and that spike machine, but I don't understand the war between the chainsaw and Paul Bunyan.
But anyways, in the cartoon,
I mean, well, Disney made a
watched,
short about John Henry that showed just that. It was actually pretty damn good.
but anyways, in the cartoon adaptation, how he lost was it's like Paul Bunyan cut down 5,001 feet worth of trees, but this guy, the guy with chainsaw, cut down 5,001.5 feet of trees. So Paul Bunyan lost.
So it's like freaking. Oh, I was about to say SpongeBob versus King Neptune, but
Oh, I was say, okay, Paul Bunyan, to like, give me a chainsaw now.
Well, no, it wasn't even half a foot. It was like 5,001 feet and half an inch. So, like, it was one twig.
oh, that means chainsaw's better.
Before we go,
He's the guy.
before we go, do you have a Daily Onion, Snick?
I mean, well, I was already doing a little bit of a Daily Onion by talking about ridiculous. Oh, ridiculous Mills Elementary School Schnick and ridiculous books. I only have a few more stories of this. I shouldn't exhaust all the stories because eventually I'm going to run out and I'm going to have to start retelling stories for more modern audiences. So the Johnny Appleseed book was not the only book. And I'm going to change this movie channel.
Can you get some lights? Or not?
All right, I'm going to turn... Yeah, I only turned the lights off because I'm worried my mom and dad are going to come through the door. All right, well... So, the Johnny Appleseed book was one thing. There was also a book we covered about twisters. For one thing, the book, I mean, well, I wanted to say the illustrations were weird, like the funnel clouds were shown moving in ridiculously impossible poses until I remembered, oh, sometimes they can do that.
The Tasmanian devil.
But no, like I said, all the books we had to read about weather were woefully outdated. Like, they always had inaccurate information from like the 70s or 80s, particularly through describing how you had to open windows in your house.
What?
In order to, because apparently the reason why twisters destroy your house is because buildings blow up like a freaking grenade with like freaking plastic explosives were set inside the house. Because, when a twister passes over your house, the pressure outside is so low, but it's so high on the inside that it explodes.
That's not how that works at all.
So you gotta open the window so that the pressure is equal.
Of course.
And here's the best part. It was found as early as like the 80s or at the latest the 90s that not only is the whole pressure thing bullshit, so essentially all that time you're wasting opening the windows is time you should be spending getting to shelter. It was actually claimed that opening the windows would probably only make things worse, because now debris can more easily enter the house. And you're getting near windows to begin with when you shouldn't be.
The only thing that's slightly safer is that glass is less likely to explode. But even then, you could have like those windows that slide, so it would even work. It's just stupid.
Yup, and that's part of the reason why elementary school Schnick was so afraid of them, because he was worried his house was going to blow up.
I've seen videos of people hiding in like their cellars and listening to a tornado destroy their house. It's pretty scary. It sounds like a chainsaw. Like, it sounds like you could hear like wood ripping and stuff. It sounds like a buzzing sound.
I mean, the whole thing is, like, they don't even happen that often where I live, and when they do, they're the weak variety that wouldn't even dent a house.
dust devils. I've seen some dust devils in my life.
Yeah, because contrary to popular belief, even though a lot of them occur a year, most of them don't even reach F2.
Yep.
Like, an F0, that's not going to do anything to a house.
It's like
I don't even think it's going to do much to a
get rid of some
person.
roof tiles, but that's it.
kind of like how the first of the hurricanes, first there's a tropical storm, then eventually get to a hurricane levels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what the rankings are. In fact, hurricanes can actually spawn them, but due to the irregular rotation, they're usually F0 or F1.
Hurricanes can
Have
spawn
you seen
tornadoes.
the
Yeah, they can.
Have you seen the movie titled Twister?
Yeah,
The ending
I
is
have.
really ridiculous. How they just grab a pole and they survive a freaking tornado.
Yeah, like, that's the whole thing. Especially since they were supposed to be riding out in F5. Like,
Their
in
arms would have probably
F5,
gotten
like,
ripped off.
that shit would not only destroy a house completely, it will just sweep everything off the foundation. You wouldn't even know there was a house.
Yeah, and plus, if they grabbed that pole, I'm pretty sure their arms would have gotten ripped off.
Yeah, like 300-mile-an-hour winds. Like, that would have shredded, the debris would have shredded them to pieces.
This is faster, a tornado or a hurricane?
Twister.
Tornado.
Oh. Yeah, the hurricanes.
Except hurricane, because see, they both have their ups and downs. Because while hurricanes don't have as strong winds, they last for. Twisters at most last for an hour. Hurricanes go on all day.
Yeah, and plus they also have water damage too.
Yeah. Not to
Plus
mention, they can
fish.
even spawn weak twisters. Like I mentioned, the rotation is a bit irregular, so they're not usually that strong. But
You ever heard of the
Do
term?
you know about those types of things in the ocean that spawn like the water spouts that like suck
water
up
spouts,
stuff?
yeah, water spouts, if they're like out to sea, are pretty much harmless.
You ever
But
heard
they
Yeah,
can
but
go
there's
get
a
on the
there's
land.
a place there's a place that like sucks up fishes and spews it all over the city. There's also a place that for a time it there was something similar to that where there was like a twister in some far off place and it started raining spiders on this one town.
Jesus.
You ever heard that term, the eye of the hurricane?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Eye of the Hurricane, yeah.
Isn't that pretty bull? Isn't that kind of bull?
No, it's
The whole
No, hurricanes actually do have an eye.
Well,
Like,
I know they have
essentially
an eye.
the worst of it is like right on the edge of the eye, and then the eye is like kind of a calm.
like the calm before the storm. Like, oh, get this
Yeah.
is over with. Hurricane's over with. Wait, no, too quiet. Oh gosh, your eye. Back to ultimate power.
It's
infinite
like
power.
the exact opposite of a climax. So, like it goes up and it goes down and it goes spiking back up again and then it goes down.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well,
I saw this documentary. It was in biology class, and we were watching like episodes of like the Science Channel on Netflix, and there was an episode talking about like the human body and how it reacts to extreme conditions and what it does to survive. There was this one guy who there was like a tornado. I think it was like F3, F4, so it was pretty strong. And the
Yeah.
guy ended up getting launched like a mile or 2 miles, like an
I
insane
think I may have
amount.
heard the story actually.
You probably said
Yeah,
yeah. Too
filled
many
the air.
too many guys didn't talk about this during the Storm podcast episode.
I mean, well, we could always bring topics back,
True.
you know?
So, anyways, the guy got flung, and in midair he passed out, and his muscles tensed up, like it tensed up super, like so much, and his bones, like something with his bones happened, but he ended up flinging really far, and he passed out in midair, and when he landed, his muscles absorbed all the impact, and he didn't break a single bone. Well, I think he might have had some rib injuries, but he survived getting launched that far from a hurricane, or not a hurricane, a tornado. And there are people like Hiroshima survivors who actually got launched about the same amount of feet from the atomic bomb who ended up surviving.
Hmm.
I also
Well-
saw a documentary about the atomic bomb dropping. It was
You
pretty.
have to tell me what that documentary is.
It was a pretty
But
fiction.
But
Well, anyways, there's only one more ridiculous story that we were read, which was also in third grade. It was the Titanic.
Okay.
And this was the first time I had ever heard the story of the Titanic. This was even before I knew about the James Cameron movie. In fact, not long after I actually found out about the James Cameron movie and I asked to watch it, and my Gram's like, yeah, sure, let's all sit down and watch it. And I ended up spewing all the bullshit the story, the book told me.
Oh.
I mean, the book was fairly accurate in talking about the disaster until the ship hits the iceberg.
Yeah.
First of all, the book claimed that once the crew knew once the captain knew the ship was going to sink, he immediately told everyone, and everyone started panicking immediately, which is not at all how it happened.
Yeah, the captain was crazy.
The captain, he was about to retire, and he was just overconfident. And when the ship started sinking, he was in complete shock and denial.
Okay, I can see it now. Attention passengers, we're all gonna die. Have a nice night.
Yeah, but the whole thing they wanted to avoid was a panic. So that's why they had the musicians playing. That's why they were loading everybody in the lifeboats with relative ease. In fact, they got as far as the point where the ship only had an hour left, and people still didn't know the ship was sinking.
Yeah, because what happened is that it ruptured and it started filling with water, and even then, some people didn't know.
Well, most of the people that knew right away were third-class passengers that were situated closer to where the ship was hit.
Yeah, and people who were on the bridge, so they were on top and they saw it scrape the side.
Oh, speaking of myths, is this a myth? The captain goes down the ship.
Well, it's more or less in unofficial tradition, but no. Here's one thing that was discovered. I may have said this before, but it was found, I don't know if the Mythbusters did this or if someone else did it, but essentially someone actually did a test, and they found that had the Titanic just hit the iceberg head on and didn't try to avoid it, it would have survived.
Yeah, because they would
have had to stop a few days for repairs, and they would have been a few days late to New York, but only the first few compartments would have been flooded, and they could have remained afloat while they did the repairs, or better yet, even if it did sink all the way, it probably would have given them more time for other ships to come and help.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way they scraped it was overkill.
Yeah, it was stupid.
I mean, well, at the same time, they were trying to impress. They were trying to impress the public with how the ship was fast and unsinkable.
I mean, it was fast. It sank pretty fast. Well, no, it sank 3 hours, but
3 hours.
But ultimately, in a way, the disaster needed to happen because now we have all the safety precautions that we now have.
Kind of like the Hindenburg disaster.
And now humans are slightly less cocky than they were before. So
no, I think we're more cocky now.
Probably.
Yeah, it takes serious. Sadly, it just seems that serious disasters like that are what it takes for people to learn.
And with that, I think...
Well, actually, no. I wanted to discuss one more thing from the book that was stupid. So they bring up the Californian and, the whole controversy surrounding that. How the ship may have seen the Titanic going down but didn't help. I mean, most people, I think retrospectively, a lot of people have forgiven the Californian because, simply put, their radio was off for the night and they realistically could not have known. Not this storybook. Because in real life, the Californian was far enough away to where they could supposedly see the Titanic, but they were too far away to make out exactly what was going on. Not the book. The book shows the Californian parked practically right next to the Titanic. Like, it's in perfect view.
Wow.
And there is an image in this storybook with the caption, "The Californian was able to see the Titanic," and they were even able to see the red flares being shot up in the air that were distress signals, but they don't know the Titanic's in trouble, so they don't come. Meanwhile, the image is of a crew member laying in his quarters on the Californian. He looks out, he's laying down, staring out the window as you see an image of the Titanic with its ass sticking up in the air as it's going down.
Wow, they should have,
Like,
at that point, they should
sitting
have
there
drawn a
laying
little
there.
white flag.
Wow, that ship's really sticking up in the air, sinking, and there's a rocket flare distress signal going up.
Wow.
Typical night of a seaman.
Hey, trust me,
Somebody's
it's the fish
dying.
eye.
Low.
What'd
Trust
you
me,
say?
just go over the side of the planet. It's all right.
I said somebody's dying. Low.
Yeah, that picture book. Oh my god, why the frick would you introduce kids to the Titanic like that, showing humans not knowing something is wrong like an idiot? When that's not at all how it happened.
DSP levels of oblivious.
That is DSP levels of crap.
The
my
sailor's
God.
an ancestor of DSP. Or not an ancestor, probably a great-grandfather.
Let's see. Joseph Burnell. There we go. No, that's just a name I made up.
Well, time to wrap this up. Anybody have any final words?
Don't trust elementary school picture books. There you go.
Mario?
No.
Jesse? any
No.
final-
No, not really.
Alright, so.
Oh my god. Oh, okay, never mind.
Okay, anyways.
Wait, is this real? Is this real? Okay, so I searched up Titanic picture book, right? And what
Oh, God.
came up was a book title, like a cover's called Deck Z, The Titanic, Unseekable and Undead. So
Maybe.
they turned the Titanic to a zombie story.
Awesome. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that Saturday. Join us Saturday.
I don't know if that's less offensive or more offensive than the freaking animated Titanic movie where they
Oh my
saved
God.
everyone.
Oh my god, I scroll over a few more images and I just see the incredible untold story of a doomed ship in World War II, the Nazi Titanic. What is this?
What, is that like? Is that like not the Hindenburg, the Bismarck?
What is this? Why?
Is that the Bismarck?
The what?
The Bismarck?
No, it just says the Nazi Titanic and has a picture of the actual Titanic.
Oh, I thought it was like.
I mean, there was a Nazi propaganda movie centered around the Titanic.
I think there was a ship, the Bismarck. That was the people ship. Anyways, we'll talk about that next time. I wrap this up. Alright, so, join us next Saturday, where hopefully Mario will be producing again, or not, I don't know, and they'll probably be back to the big Skype square again, like he does. But anyways, remember folks, if you don't sign up for history class, people don't want to know about the history of things. Also learn about history because Titanic is awesome and sunk, and history movies are usually bull. Nintendo is good except when it's not, and Shakespeare. It happened. Some people don't want about it. I think it's something we call it about. And happy graduation to Snick and MarioTube. And
Arg.
happy 20th anniversary to me for my graduation.
Arg.
Anyways, join us Saturday. I don't know what to say. Never stop learning. Enjoy the randomness. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Why?
Bye-bye.
What is this?